So we are here in St John's Church in Hackney, and I'm joined by Chris and Johnny from Coldplay. Hello.
Hi, Annie. How you doing?
I'm really good, really excited about today and tonight. Is it fair to say that you guys are feeling giddy in general about the start of this whole new campaign?
Yeah, I think that is fair.
Giddy, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Giddy's a good
It's
word.
fair. I think it's fair.
And I mean, look behind us. It looks fabulous.
Do you know how long it took us to put that window in? 9 weeks.
Did you cut it yourself?
Johnny and I learned about stained glass.
Yeah.
And,
Guy modelled.
Guy modelled.
That's him. That's him on the right.
Isn't that
Chris in the middle.
Beautiful?
It is very beautiful. Yeah.
It's lovely to play in here.
It feels kind of right though in terms of the album. Like the album does feel kind of full of, you know, there's a song that is actually a hymn for the weekend.
Yeah.
It's all joy. It's all kind of exultation. It's optimism and hope. It feels like a church is kind of the perfect setting to kind of play it out to the world.
Thanks, Annie.
Yeah?
Yeah, everything you're saying is fair and true.
Great. So let's talk about the album to start with. There's
Okay.
lots of things to talk about.
All right.
Let's kick off with the album. Now, we spoke before about it. I think you guys are probably the only band in the world that can get Beyonce and Noel Gallagher on one long player.
Yeah.
And
Although we didn't tell each of them.
Did you
that
not?
It was there. Now you've given it away. So thanks a lot.
do you reckon Noel would have said no if you said, by the way, Beyonce's on
So,
it too?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. That's what you said. Just like that.
Yeah,
It's a
I bet.
faultless Noel Gallagher
It is
impression.
very good. I thought he was in
Yeah.
the room.
All right. Like that.
And the guitar
And she
solo.
speaks like that too.
Does she?
So I said, Beyonce, do you want to be on the track with me? She said, yeah. All right, I love that. I'll have a bit of that, yeah. I'm up for it.
I want Beyonce to talk like Noel Gallagher. Please, can that be a reality?
Yeah.
Man. But it is a good indication of like the breadth of what you guys are into musically.
Yeah.
Like it's everything that
Like
you
you.
love piled into it, isn't it?
You're like that too.
What?
Into lots of different
I'm
types
into
of music.
lots of different
Yeah.
types of music. And that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Do you think it's a good thing?
I think it's a very good thing.
He thinks it's a good thing.
So did you, like, when you go into making an album, do you have a slight kind of creative agenda behind it? Or is it just, right, let's just see what comes out and see what sticks?
We definitely have a creative agenda. We sort of have a kind of idea for what we want the whole thing to feel like. Yeah, we often have quite a few titles, and this time we had the title for the album. So we have a good brief.
It's nice to have an album title going in, because then if something doesn't quite fit with the title, even if it's really good, then you probably leave it for another time.
Wow. And how do you come up with the title in the first place then?
I don't know where they come from. The title A Head Full of Dreams and the title Ghost Stories, which was our last album, came at the same time, about the same day. And it just felt clear like we should do a small album called Ghost Stories, and then you should do a colourful thing called A Head Full of Dreams, and not go on tour between them.
And,
I don't know where that comes from.
That's when you think about it, like, incredible in terms of to think that far ahead and to think of, like, as I said, a creative agenda. And you did make them at the same time, or did you go into Ghost Stories and get in that zone and then switch?
Yeah, we couldn't have made them at the same time. I don't think.
I just thought it would have been hard to go from like one room and do Midnight and then another room and do Him for the. I mean,
no, we didn't do that. We for various reasons, we just felt like we wanted to make a small, quiet thing, and any moment of music that felt like it didn't quite fit with that, we'd just save. But most of A Head Full of Dreams we made after we finished Ghost Stories, because we felt so excited to be in the studio again, and kind of felt free and ready to have fun.
And when you are in there and you're writing, how does the creative process work then for you guys? Like, let's say this album, you come in, you're feeling good, you're feeling inspired, you come in the studio together. Do you hang out between albums? Do you see each other a lot, or?
We didn't really have any time between
We didn't
albums.
have any time.
Wow.
We did a few concerts and then we're right back in. So what normally happens is I gave everyone some demos
Yeah.
of ideas, and then half of them get axed brutally by the rest of the band. And then Johnny and Will and Guy, nowadays they do these improvisations, what you would call jams if we lived in the 1970s. And I listen to them and see if there's any. So we sort of listen to all that pile of stuff, and some ideas come out of that. And then during the recording, you try and fill in the bits that are missing with new songs.
And that process of kind of you presenting your ideas and then being ruthlessly, mercilessly chopped off. I mean, do you have to get a thick skin for that now, or are you able to take whatever the band give you?
Well, one thing we learned from working with this guy Brian Eno was he told us you have to learn to take rejection. I mean, you have to learn that in your life anyway. So now I accept, like, sometimes they'll say, "Great, we love it," and that feels amazing. And other times, they never say it in a mean way.
Yeah.
It's more like,
How would you say it, Johnny?
I'm not sure about this one.
that's as aggressive as he gets. That to
It's
me,
a lot easier to take, that, isn't
that
it?
to me is like a dagger through the heart.
I'm not sure.
Guy will leave the room.
Oh, really?
He'll play it once and then he'll just leave. He'll look like he's got something else to do.
He'll be like, oh, that's the time. Oh.
Will flare his nostrils a bit and be like that. And that just means no. And Johnny will say something really aggressive like that.
And then what do you say? Do you be like, okay, fine,
I say-
move on?
Now I say, what about this one? I'm like a door-to-door salesman sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
selling.
Don't like that one? Well, what about this one, sir?
I've just got this one prepared and ready.
This beautiful one over here.
Here's one I made earlier.
Yeah, just like that. But sometimes they really like it, and that's amazing. Then we get right on to playing it. We had a song called Everglow, which I showed everybody, and that song was quite fully formed as a piano and vocal. And we just recorded it straight away in
Wow.
like half an hour, and then it was done,
Wow.
which is an amazing feeling.
Yeah. And does it work the other way around? So let's say, you play them Everglow, and then Johnny's like, I've got the perfect thing for this. Let me just play it to you. And then you're like, no.
Yes, that does.
What I do in that
Is Chris a dictator in the studio?
I would then write to his parents,
Okay.
say, look, about
Good effort.
Johnny is doing very well in the studio, and we're very impressed with his work ethic. I do want to point out that I have certain concerns over this riff or that riff. And then we have a parent-teacher meeting. I'm sorry, I just came from my kid's school, so I'm in that mode.
I love it.
So I can say no too, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes I'll jump up and down and say, that's it. Like
Yeah.
on Adventure of a Lifetime, our song,
That guitar
That
riff
riff.
is something else.
I was just like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Just made my favourite riff ever.
And do you know? You must know what Chris is going to love at this point, like 7 albums deep. Still no.
He
No,
doesn't.
not at all.
He didn't even know he'd written that riff. He did it on the end of another piece. Then I said, that riff is it.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, what?
And then that became the whole song.
There's no way he would remember it. That became the whole song.
Wow. Wow.
Well done, John.
Thanks.
Well done, Johnny. Okay, so let's talk about then you guys as a band. You spend so much time in the studio together, touring together, on a bus together. Well, not anymore. You'd be on that now, let's be honest.
A flying bus.
Yeah, a flying bus together. You must do each other's heads in at any point, in the same way that a family does, brothers and sisters do.
Not really. I mean,
Seriously?
Seriously. Not
There's
really.
got to be
really
eye
not.
rolling and door slamming. There's got to be.
I think we've gone beyond that
Occasional.
stage.
Really.
The eye rolling stage that happened about 10 years ago, maybe.
What's
I
an
think.
eye? Define an eye roll. Oh, there you go. That's beautiful.
I quite like an eye roll.
I mean, I think on this last album we had one fallout between myself and Guy, which lasted about 3 minutes. I don't think we fell out.
I can imagine you kind of apologising immediately, being like,
Yeah,
I'm really sorry.
Everyone else is very calm, and I'm really working on it. and it's a lot better, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you agree?
I would agree. I would
I
agree.
think it's your job as the lead singer and frontman to be not maybe as calm.
Well, it's just a common knowledge that a lot of frontmen are just real knobs.
Well, I didn't say knobs. No one said knobs.
Well, I don't mind. It's okay.
It's what we call LSD, lead singer disorder.
But this is why it's very great when band lineups stay together, because I feel like as an audience member, when you watch a big band that's been around for a long time, where the singers, you're not quite sure, it's encouraging that he's surrounded by people that keep him,
On the
that
ground.
they can eye roll him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he has to take it.
And he has to take it.
Because he needs them.
Because he needs them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys are a close-knit unit. You have been through, I can imagine, all sorts of ups and downs. And as a band, because I looked at the Wikipedia, you've been together. You met in 1996, just FYI. That's next year,
Okay.
20 years since you
That's
two
before you were even born.
met. Yeah, I know. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
20 years.
It's the 20th
Chris
anniversary.
and Johnny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
20 years in
How did you meet?
September.
Can you remember the moment?
Tinder.
Did your eyes lock across the
Grindr.
room?
He was on Grindr, I was on Tinder. But then we met on Kinder, which is where you just talk about chocolate.
Okay. Seriously, how did you meet?
We
It's not that interesting. really.
But that's why I
We met
like
in a- we
it.
met in
That's
a-
why
in
I
a
like
room.
it. Were you in class together? You were in uni
no,
together?
We were in yeah.
Do you know how in Harry Potter, the saviour of the day is Neville?
Okay.
By the end of the last film, Neville Longbottom, is it?
Yeah.
Do you watch Harry Potter?
I've never watched any of it.
But in the first few movies, you don't even notice him.
Okay.
But he turns out to be the hero of the whole thing. That's very
that Johnny?
similar to what Johnny was like at Hogwarts,
Okay.
where we went to school.
How did you notice him?
He was very quiet in the corner for
The
about 2
toad.
months.
Was it the toad? You see my toad?
Yeah.
You had a toad?
We're on Harry Potter.
Oh, right, okay.
We've left
So
you behind in
confused.
Harry Potter world.
Okay.
No, so my point was Johnny's very quiet and unassuming.
Yeah.
And about 50 of us where we lived in college played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just sit and smoke, I think would be the word.
Yeah.
And then one day he was holding a guitar. I said, "Oh, John, I didn't know you played guitar." And he goes, and then within 2 minutes I was like, "This is the guy."
You're in the band!
I was like, "This is the guy I've been looking for my whole life."
Wow.
Yeah. And I told him and he said,
What's it like being Johnny in Coldplay?
I don't know. I've never been anyone else.
But I guess what I mean is Chris takes a lot of the flack in terms of like all the publicity and all the interests and all the headlines and all that. You get to just live pretty much a normal life, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Can you go on like public transport and stuff and go around, go to Waitrose and
yeah, regularly.
God. And do you ever want to be like, excuse me,
It's me.
Johnny from Coldplay.
I'm that guy.
I'm the guitarist, just so you know.
I'm the one in the hat. I walked in. We were doing a TV show yesterday, and I walked in through, and there's a lot of people the other side of the gate, and they were shouting, "Chris, Chris!" I was like, "I'm obviously not Chris." And they were shouting, "Will, Will!"
It's going through everyone.
And then finally,
No. Never got that.
but do you like it that way?
Yeah, that's fine.
I can imagine. Yeah. Because you get to pretty much have the best job in the world and still go about your business untouched.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do people stop you in the street?
Not really. Sometimes it's happened once or twice on a tube. I think it's their hair.
Right.
But not really. The thing is, when you're on the radio, is that people are assume that you are their best friend.
Right, it's true.
They're like, oh, Annie,
if you're a good DJ.
Hugs.
Yeah.
And you're like, hi.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah, it is lovely. Yeah. So what is the secret to you guys still being together, still being relevant, people still wanting to know and listen to your music? 7 albums deep. Like, how do you do it? What's the secret?
Well, first of all, Annie, I think we love it. It's really, really what we all feel called to do. So it's very satisfying to do it. Secondly, I think we've learned over time to feel grateful for it because the period that we've been a band has been such a shifting time in music, and it's just not ever been a time where you can take something for granted. And so I think because of the dynamic we have, and because we have Phil, our 5th member, who is not playing anything and tells us what to do a lot of the time, it keeps us all very grateful. That's what I feel anyway. I don't know what Johnny might say, the money, but...
What do you think, Johnny?
I think we were very lucky to have each other, to meet each other. Also, we've been quite lucky in many other ways as well.
Yeah. We've had such amazing people help us out and work with us and give us a break, and we owe so many people such a debt of gratitude.
It's got to be down to the music as well, though, right? I mean, the songs that you are making are obviously touching so many people still over the years.
People
Tens
across
of
Norfolk.
millions of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're the biggest band in the world.
I don't know about that.
I was trying to think of anyone bigger in a global way.
We're not.
I can't
even
think
in
of a
North
bigger
London,
band.
we've got competition, I think.
I don't think there's a bigger band than you right now.
But size is...
Not that it matters.
Size doesn't matter. And... yeah. We're just so... we're just so lucky to be here. That's what I think keeps us going. It's like...
Joy. Genuine love of the craft.
And if I can get a little bit deeper, like when some of us have been going through some harder times, it's the band that really picks each other up. Certainly for me, I can think of 1 or 2 other band members who at certain times have needed the sort of brotherhood. And so that really is an amazing thing to have in your life.
Because you've been through, you've been together, as I said. Well, Yellow came out in 2000, so it's 15 years of life.
Yeah.
And births and deaths and
I know.
everything. And you've kind of stuck together through that.
Yeah.
Do you get used to the lifestyle of touring? Like, do you ever kind of get to a point in your life where you're like, oh, I can't wait to just get on the road again.
Yeah, of
Just
course.
can't wait to just be in motion and in that state.
It's
of
great.
I
perpetual
think we're there
motion.
right now because we didn't tour the last album, so we
We've been
got
mainly
hungry.
in the studio for
Hungry
3
for it.
years or something.
yeah,
Mm.
3
So,
years.
yeah.
God, so you're out, and this is
Yeah,
it now.
this is
For
it.
how long?
Meeting
2 years?
people.
What, a year?
Who knows?
How
As
long will
long
you
as
tour?
anyone wants us.
What's next for Coldplay? Because there's rumours that I saw another Harry Potter analogy about this album being in the 7th, or I don't know. I don't know enough about Harry Potter, but
You've really got to do your
I
homework.
really have to learn.
If you're going to interview Coldplay, you've got to know about Harry Potter. Okay,
Okay.
that says that on Wikipedia.
I have been reprimanded publicly. I get it.
No, it was just like meaning that A Head Full of Dreams is somewhere we've been trying to get to for a long time, and so we're just happy to be in this place, and it gives us a better relationship with some of our other albums. So I think we just love to exist in this world for a while and tour it for a long time, and and then we can rediscover some older stuff. So that's what's next, is just to kind of stay here.
Stay here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had enough of the studio for a while, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just be and perform.
Yeah.
Do you still get very nervous before a gig? Do you get kind of butterflies and stuff?
Not so much before a gig, more like things like the live lounge or TV,
Yeah, live TV.
where you
Yeah.
have to go from cold to hot immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, from sitting on a sofa for 2 hours to
Full performance mode.
Yeah. So that's when we get a bit more nervous, but
Yeah. And when you are in situations like that backstage, what like who does what in the band? Like what character, who takes on what character? Like, is there someone who's a bit like pacing, and or is there someone who's just like chill out?
yeah. So there's a bit of pacing and a
Do you
bit
sit
of
in a room together?
yeah.
you
Yeah.
do? Okay.
we have 4 different thrones.
Well, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
For the
what-
attendees.
I
on
mean,
each
you
one.
could have separate. You could have separate zones.
Johnny has his throne with his 2 attendants.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
Grapes.
Great
Exchange
thing.
grapes,
And so
yeah.
we just sit there. We just sit there. And as we're getting older, we do a bit more stretching.
Do you?
Yeah. And you might see someone taking a banana or 2,
Yeah.
you know,
Cup
to
of
keep it
tea.
rock and roll.
Yeah.
One time, Noel, I was talking about some pre-gig ritual to do with yoga, and he said, God, and they say rock and roll's dead.
Oh, it's amazing. But I mean, do you guys remember a point when in Coldplay that you just, I think it happens to everyone, mainly when they get past 30, I think, when you just stop worrying about the notion of like being cool, you know, just like, I don't care what anyone thinks anymore. I am who I am. I like who I am.
Well, the truth is, Annie, we never cared about being cool, and we never have been that cool. The other thing you said about caring what anyone else thinks, that's taken a while to go, especially then with the rise of the internet, when you can really see what people think. Now I'd say we've actually let that go as much as you can. We totally understand that what we do isn't for everybody, but I think now we appreciate, well, that's okay. There's loads of other things to do. You can read or listen to someone else, so we don't try not to take it so personally, which then liberates us to do what we really want to do.
Yeah, amazing.
Same with you on the radio, you know?
Yeah, it's all about honesty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Annie.
It's very, very lovely to chat. Really enjoyed
It's lovely.
it.
Thanks.
Sincerely.
Has it been your favourite interview of the day?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
One.